Hi, and welcome back to the New York Phil Audition Challenge. This is week 7, where we're going to take a look at Brahms for the third movement. Now, if you've taken other auditions in the past or looked at other lists, you know that Brahms' Fourth Symphony is always on the list. In fact, I remember auditioning for the Boston Symphony a number of years back, where what was on the list was Brahms 4, and you had to prepare the entire symphony, and there are things on every single page that could be asked. And so here, this opening page or so of the third movement is a great example, and one that's sometimes overlooked because we practice the beginning of the first movement, the end of the first movement, a couple sections in the second movement, definitely the opening of the last movement, and now this. And in some ways, this is the most difficult because it's very hard to balance dynamic, tempo, and character. All three of those things inform each other in any music that we play. The character helps tell us what dynamic and tempo to play, but at the same time, of course, the dynamic influences the character that the audience, the listeners, perceive. So when you look at the tempo marking for this allegro giocoso, it's that second word, giocoso, or joyful, that often gets overlooked. And when I hear this on committees, most often what I hear is fortissimo, and I hear the accents. It's pretty aggressive, it's solidly in 2, and it's loud. And unfortunately, if a whole section or a whole orchestra were to play the movement like that, it would just go straight into the ground. And so what you have to be able to show is, what does this fortissimo mean? And to me, it means not just joyful, but very joyful, not really loud. So all music has to have shape, unless it's written as a special effect to have no shape at all. But this is Brahms, and it's going to have shape. And so the accents, I think, provide direction. That's what you aim for. So it's almost as though there were a crescendo, you've got accents, but now even something further. So just in that very beginning, you aim for the second measure, and then in the next group you aim for the third measure. So second measure and fifth measure. And that would be sort of the mezzo forte, or the forte version. So instead we're going to take it, it's allegro. It's not something stodgy. It's allegro, and it's fortissimo, so I'm going to up the character and the joy factor. And that's really, you don't need to press any more than that, and you certainly don't need to hold on to these notes like this last half note tied to a quarter. Don't need to hang on to it for dear life, It's not the beginning of the concerto where you've got it tied over in that sense. Here is a place where I sometimes make an exception for starting everything from the string. These figures, they sound so nice as a rebounded stroke that as long as you're not coming from way above the string and doing it vertically, noisy like that, but just hitting and rebounding from the string, you could do down bows all day long. So you think of the 3 notes as a unit, and the slur leads to the next unit. All of what I'm saying is to prevent that squareness. Again, the bad demonstration that I did in the beginning. And again, here sometimes I'll hear, and every beat is accented. So rather it's And then, again, the sforzandos tell you where to aim. It's getting off balance, right? On 2. Again, not hitting every beat. The sforzandos are the beats to aim for. There are some technical challenges here with this bow stroke. I do like to pick those triplets from the string, so I get back to, the middle or lower middle of the bow very quickly, and then I'm ready. So it's all about the quick bow circle, timed so that as soon as I get back to the string, I'm ready to play those triplets. So I hold the long note as long as I can, quick bow circle, and then immediately the triplets. And now in tempo. That last group of triplets has a tendency to want to rush downhill. So that is nice to think of holding it. And it's fine, I think, to put a little emphasis on the downbeat there at A, the open string. Because the next bow is piano, a lot of times what I'll hear is a big accent on, because people want to get all the way to the tip. And it's probably just not going to happen that you get all the way to the tip. Because if you try to do that, you'll get the big, and that's really not, it's not marked and it's not the style. So be content with getting 2/3 or 3/4 of the way up the bow. And then it's simply lighter pressure for the piano. You don't have to go crazy playing piano right there, because it's still expressive. However, here, because you are still piano, absolutely no accents there. Now, a place like this, to play these evenly with the string crossings, that's the real trick. And I love to work on something like this with, for example, if you were to pick a Kreutzer Etude, Kreutzer number 2, that has all the bowing variations and the string crossings, or maybe number 8 would be another good one. But slurring not just 4 notes, but something more odd, like 3. And, well, later on it has more string crossings. But you could pick any etude that has string crossings to get used to navigating those smoothly. So, and playing it under tempo and with dotted rhythms is key. Because it really needs to be very smooth and piano. So relatively little bow for that. It's the start of a bit of a long crescendo here. So you do this crescendo with amount of bow. You're starting, of course, with little bow. And then more and more. Then till by the end. Then you're back to the opening sound, opening dynamic. So a word about fingerings. Extending here, but keeping the hand in third position. In other words, leaving the 1 down. Reaching back there for the 1. And when you do that, of course, you reach first, and then let the rest of the hand catch up. So, then to third position. Here, I keep my hand in third position, but I extend to 3 and 4 for the DE. So, the 1 stays down. So it's the second finger that has to move up and then back down. And here is where all of your octave practice pays off if you've been practicing some octaves. But the frame of the hand between 1 and 4. So this passage is great if you can just imagine it because that's basically what your hand needs to be doing. That way it's not a collection of notes, but just one frame after another. Shifting up to a 1 for that C. And then we've got a lot of the same as we've had. Fingering here, I like to go up one, 3, 4, and then I keep my hand there. Reach back for the 1, but don't shift down. So it's the 2 that goes across the string. You're basically staying in 5th position. Once you shift up here, you stay in 5th. Ending on a 3rd finger. This, since it's quiet, I would start from the string. I would not try to, but the first one starting from the string. And then this grazioso finally. Here I would use more bow with a light pressure because we're changing the character. They're subtle on the hairpin, and it's a good reason not to accent bar number. What is that? Oh, the numbers are too small, but this one. This one, avoid the accent there because you've got it the next bar. And of course, no accent on the final note. So let me play the excerpt straight through. And again, I want direction in all the figures, whether that's fortissimo, piano, slurred, separate. I always want to feel that I'm heading somewhere and that there's a dance element to it. This is sandwiched in between some weighty movements. And so we need some relief. And even though it's fortissimo, it's joyful, extra joyful. All right. I've always found this one challenging because of, again, that balance of tempo, dynamic, character. But play around with it and don't be afraid to change those variables. Get the character and the dynamic you want in a slower tempo. Or play at piano, practice at piano, change the dynamics so that you get the direction and the tempo that you want. You pretty much got to stay with the character, I think. Maybe don't change that variable. But play around with those other two until you come to the balance that you like. And those who can really give a sense of the dance, the joy in this movement, are going to be the ones that stand out. So thank you so much, and I look forward to your videos for this week 7.